Remember all those ads saying you'll be a millionaire just by using an AI code generator?
Yeah, feels like a get-rich-quick scheme.
Total Ponzi scheme vibes. Well, today's deep dive is looking at some research that really challenges that hype.
What's really interesting is this research is from OpenAI.
The ChatGPT people.
Yeah. So not exactly AI skeptics. They actually put this idea of AI replacing software engineers to the test.
Okay, so what did they do?
They created this thing called a SWE-Lancer, which was basically a benchmark.
SWE-Lancer, okay.
Yeah. They took like almost 1,500 real freelance software engineering tasks from Upwork.
Real tasks?
Yeah, things like fixing bugs and implementing features.
Okay.
And these tasks represented about $1 million in payouts. Then they gave these tasks to some cutting-edge AI models.
So basically like an AI coding showdown million-dollar prize pool?
Exactly.
Did the AI win?
Not even close. The best one, Claude 3.5 Sonnet, only made about $400,000 across the whole thing. And when it came to actually writing correct code for those individual tasks, it only had about 26% right.
So much for AI taking our jobs tomorrow.
Right. I think this research shows that natural language programming is kind of like, like that awkward kid trying to be a supermodel. Not quite there yet.
I love that analogy. So it might not be taking our jobs, but $400,000 is still pretty impressive. What was the AI good at?
Surprisingly, they were better at the SWE manager tasks.
What does that even mean?
So instead of writing code, they had to choose the best solution from a set of proposals, kind of like a tech lead would.
Why do you think they were better at that?
Well, maybe because it involves more understanding trade-offs, thinking about different approaches, and considering the bigger picture, which seem to be AI's strengths right now.
So not just about raw coding skills, but more strategic decision-making.
Yeah, exactly. It really challenges that simple idea that AI is just going to replace programmers line by line. Things are much more complicated.
This has already given me a lot to think about. What other interesting findings were there?
So they actually gave the AI models a user tool.
Okay, what's that?
It basically let them simulate using the software and seeing the results of their code like a human would when debugging.
Sounds helpful. Did it make a big difference?
You'd think so, right? But surprisingly, no.
Really?
It didn't significantly improve their performance on those coding tasks.
That is surprising. I would have thought being able to see the consequences of their code would be huge.
Me too. It seems like there's still something about human problem solving that AI hasn't quite figured out.
What's the secret sauce? What are we doing that AI isn't?
Well, they found that while AI was super fast at finding the relevant code to fix a problem, even faster than humans,
Okay.
they often missed the root cause, leading to, incomplete or just wrong solutions.
So they're good at finding the band-aid but not diagnosing the wound.
Exactly. They excel at that micro level of coding, but struggle with the macro level understanding of the system and thinking strategically to solve the actual problem.
So like having an assistant who can find the right tool but doesn't know how to use it, should software engineers be worried about their jobs?
This OpenAI research is a reality check, It shows that AI is moving fast, but the whole replace all software engineers thing is, well, an exaggeration.
Good to hear.
Yeah, it looks more like AI is going to become a tool for engineers, not a replacement.
Right.
Imagine an assistant that helps you find and understand code, suggests solutions, even helps manage projects. That could be amazing.
Yeah, more like a superpowered coding buddy. So AI might not be ready to take our jobs, but it's definitely changing things.
For sure. And actually, this whole study was done using OpenAI models and some from Anthropic.
Right. What about all those other AI code generators out there?
Exactly. OpenAI was very clear about the limitations of this study, saying that their findings might not apply to other AI models built differently or trained on different data. It's such a fast-moving field.
So this research gives us some good insights, but it's not the final word on AI coding. We need to be careful about those big, flashy claims.
Absolutely. And you mentioned earlier that OpenAI gave their models that user tool to simulate using software, but it didn't really help. Can we unpack that a bit more?
Yeah, it seemed like such a powerful feature. Why did it make a difference?
It's definitely one of the more puzzling findings. When a human engineer finds a bug, they usually try to reproduce it, test their changes, see how the software behaves, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
It's like troubleshooting anything. You have to see what's happening, test solutions, adjust based on the results.
Right.
So they gave the AI this tool to interact with the software just like a human would, hoping it would help them solve those coding tasks.
But it didn't.
Not really. Even with this powerful tool, they still struggled to match human performance. It suggests that just having more information isn't enough. There's something else that sets humans apart.
Okay, now I'm really curious. Why did the researchers think this is?
Well, they suggest it might be a few things. First, the AI might not be integrating the information from the tool effectively into their problem-solving process. They're great at analyzing code and spotting patterns, but they might not be using that feedback from the tool to adapt or refine their solutions.
So, like having all this information but not knowing how to use it.
Yeah, like that student who highlights the whole textbook but doesn't learn anything.
I've definitely been that student. What else could be happening?
Well, software development is complex, right? It's not just about fixing isolated bugs.
Right.
You need to understand the whole project, how different parts of the code depend on each other, and how even small changes can have big consequences.
Yeah, like a giant puzzle where everything is connected.
Exactly, and that's something that AI systems might find really challenging. They're great at analyzing individual pieces of code, but understanding that whole picture with all the nuances might be a different story.
So you can find the needle in the haystack, but might not understand why it's there or how removing it could affect everything else.
A perfect analogy. So while AI is great at some coding tasks, there's still a lot for them to learn before they can truly replace human software engineers. What are some key takeaways from this research?
Well, I think the biggest one is that the hype often gets ahead of reality. We hear all these claims about AI transforming industries and taking over jobs.
Yeah.
And while AI will definitely have a big impact on work, we need to be careful about believing everything we hear.
It's hard to separate the real stuff from the noise.
Right. Especially with all the marketing around AI these days.
Studies like this one from OpenAI can really help us understand what's actually happening.
So it's a reality check.
That's it. And another key takeaway is that AI is probably going to be a powerful tool for engineers, not a replacement.
Yeah. Imagine AI that can automate those boring tasks, help you understand code faster, even suggest solutions to tough problems.
It's like having an AI coding partner that takes care of the grunt work so you can focus on the more creative stuff.
Precisely. Instead of fearing obsolescence, we should be thinking about how to use these tools to become even better at what we do. So yeah, embrace the tools, but don't, hand over complete control.
Don't let the AI take the wheel just yet. And as these tools get better, it'll be interesting to see how they change software development. New roles, new ways of working, maybe even a whole new way of thinking about software engineering.
Right. Instead of fearing the robot takeover, maybe we should be thinking about how to be the best AI collaborators we can be.
I like that. And it makes me think about that other finding from OpenAI, that AI was better at those suite manager tasks than actually coding.
Right. We talked about that. Maybe AI isn't ready to replace programmers, but maybe they're ready for management. Well, it's not that simple, but it does raise some interesting questions. Could AI play a bigger role in managing projects? What would that even look like?
Well, imagine an AI system that can analyze tons of project data, like code changes, bug reports, team conversations, even stuff like market trends.
Okay.
It could identify risks, predict delays, suggest improvements.
So like an AI project manager that never sleeps and has all the information in the world.
Exactly. That could mean more efficient planning, smarter use of resources, and ultimately better software delivered on time and within budget.
Sounds like every software team's dream come true. But are there any downsides to this?
Of course, we need to think carefully about how to integrate AI into project management so that it helps humans, not creates problems. For example, how do we make sure these AI systems don't just amplify existing biases in the data or make decisions that demotivate the team?
Right. We need to make sure these systems align with our values and goals.
Absolutely. That's going to be crucial as AI continues to evolve and play a bigger role in our lives.
This is all so interesting. There are so many exciting possibilities, but also some potential pitfalls we need to be aware of.
I think that sums it up perfectly. We're at a crucial point where AI has the potential to completely change how we build software, but it's our responsibility to make sure that change is positive and beneficial for everyone.
No robot overlords, but definitely a lot to think about as AI becomes more important.
For sure. And that brings us to perhaps the most interesting question of all. If AI keeps advancing like this, what will software engineers of the future even look like?
Yeah. Will they be more like AI collaborators? Or maybe AI architects designing and managing these complex systems?
Those are great questions, and I don't think anyone has the answers yet. But it's a conversation we need to start having now, as the line between human intelligence and AI gets blurrier.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit and look at some of the specific findings from OpenAI's research. One thing that stood out to me was how good the AI was at finding the relevant code to fix a problem, often faster than humans.
Yeah, that's one area where AI has really shined. They've become incredibly good at analyzing code, finding patterns and identifying the specific areas that need attention. It's like having an AI detective that can sift through mountains of code and find the problem in seconds.
That sounds like a massive time saver, especially for those huge, complicated code bases where even the best programmers can get lost.
Absolutely. It's like having an AI guide through the maze of code. It could really speed up debugging.
But didn't the AI struggle to see the bigger picture and address the root cause, even though they were good at finding that relevant code?
That's right, and that's a really important point. It highlights the limitations of AI when it comes to understanding the complexities of software. They can be incredibly fast and efficient at finding specific pieces of code, but they often lack the deeper understanding to actually solve the problems effectively for the long term.
So they can find the needle in the haystack but don't know why it's there or what taking it out will do.
That's it, exactly. Really good at the micro level, but struggles with the macro level, the understanding of the whole system. And that's where human expertise is still essential.
Okay, so AI can help us find the right lines of code, but we can't hand over the reins when it comes to understanding and solving those complicated software problems.
Exactly. And that leads to another really interesting finding from the study, the importance of domain expertise.
Domain expertise. Okay, tell me more about that. What did the research say about how important that is in AI-assisted software development?
Well, remember that all the tasks in this study were from a single large open source project, Expensify.
Right, the expense management software, so a real-world project used by millions of people.
Exactly. It's a great testing ground. And what's fascinating is that even though the AI had access to the entire code base, they still struggled with tasks that needed a deeper understanding of that specific domain, expense management.
So even though they could analyze the code, they didn't really understand how the software was used in the real world.
Right. This suggests that if AI is going to truly excel at software development, it needs to go beyond just understanding code. It needs to understand the specific areas it's working in, the problems the software is trying to solve.
Makes sense. Just like human engineers, AI needs to learn the language, the workflows, the common mistakes of different areas to be truly effective.
Absolutely. And that's a challenge that requires new ways of training AI. We can't just feed them code. We need to find ways to teach them the kind of knowledge that human experts get from years of experience.
So AI needs to go to school for each specific area. Interesting. It's like teaching AI not just to code, but to understand the real world the code is working in.
It's a fascinating area of research, and it's going to be crucial to unlocking AI's full potential in software development. For now, though, it seems like AI is more of a powerful assistant than a replacement for human software engineers.
That's a relief to hear, especially for those of us worried about our jobs disappearing.
I understand that worry, but this research is pretty optimistic. It looks like AI is more likely to help us do our jobs better than to take them away completely.
So instead of fearing the machines, we should learn how to work with them effectively.
Exactly. And that brings us to another interesting thing, the ways AI is already being used in software development right now.
Yeah, let's talk about that. What are some real-world examples of these AI tools?
One area that's seeing a big impact is code completion and suggestion. You've probably seen this in popular IDEs, those integrated development environments.
Oh yeah, I love those. It's like having a partner who can anticipate your next move and suggest the next line of code. Saves so much time and prevents typos.
Exactly. And these features are getting better all the time thanks to natural language processing and machine learning. Some tools can even suggest whole blocks of code complete with comments and documentation just based on your past work and what you're working on now.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like having an AI assistant who knows your coding style better than you do.
It's a powerful feature, and it can really boost productivity.
What other areas are seeing AI being used?
Another one is code analysis and debugging.
Oh, right. We talked about how good the AI models in OpenAI's research were at finding those code snippets to fix problems. Are there any tools out there that do this in a helpful way?
Absolutely. There are tools now that can analyze your code and point out potential bugs, security vulnerabilities, and even performance issues. They can even suggest solutions. It's often really accurate and helpful.
That sounds amazing, especially for those of us who aren't exactly debugging experts.
It really is. These AI-powered tools are taking away a lot of the guesswork, saving developers tons of time and frustration.
Okay, so AI can help write code, analyze code, debug code. What else?
AI is also being used to improve software testing, another crucial part of development.
Right, testing is essential, but it can be so time-consuming. You're saying AI can help with that.
Exactly. There are tools now that can analyze your code and automatically generate test cases, which can drastically reduce the manual work involved in testing.
Wow, so AI can help us write better tests? That's pretty impressive.
It is, and it could mean much more thorough testing, so fewer bugs end up in the final product.
So we've got AI helping with code completion, code analysis, debugging, testing. What's next? What other parts of software development do you think AI will change in the future?
That's a great question. I think the possibilities are really endless. One area I'm really excited about is AI-assisted design and architecture.
So AI actually helping us design and architect software systems from scratch.
Exactly. Imagine telling an AI your vision for a software system and having it generate a detailed design complete with diagrams, code outlines, even suggestions for the best technologies to use.
That sounds straight out of science fiction.
Maybe, but I think it's closer than we think. AI is already being used to generate user interfaces, website layouts, even whole mobile apps. It's not that big of a jump to using it for more complex systems.
That's amazing. If AI can help us with design and architecture, it could free up developers to focus on those more creative and strategic parts of software development.
Exactly. We could focus on the things humans are uniquely good at: understanding users, coming up with elegant solutions, solving complex problems.
Okay, so it sounds like AI is going to change the way software is developed in some really big ways.
It is, and I think we needed to embrace those changes and see them as opportunities, not threats.
Right. Instead of fearing AI, we should learn how to work with it.
Absolutely. AI is a powerful tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. It's up to us to use it responsibly, ethically, in a way that benefits everyone.
This deep dive has been incredible. I feel like I've learned so much about where AI is right now and where it could go in software engineering.
I've really enjoyed discussing this with you. It's a topic I'm passionate about, and I love sharing what I know.
Well, thanks for joining us. And to our listeners, we hope this episode has given you a better understanding of how AI is changing software engineering. Remember, the future isn't something that just happens, it's something we build. Let's use AI wisely and create a better world.
Until next time. They use all sorts of techniques, like analyzing how the code is structured, understanding what the code is supposed to do, and learning from past testing data. Some tools can even target specific types of bugs or vulnerabilities.
So it's not just random guessing, there's actual intelligence behind it.
Exactly, and that's a huge step forward for testing, making sure software is tested more thoroughly so fewer bugs make it to the users.
Seems like AI is having a big impact on pretty much every part of making software.
Yeah, it really is, and we're only at the beginning of this AI revolution. As these tools keep evolving, we'll see even more creative ways AI is used in software engineering.
Okay, so we've talked about code completion, code analysis, debugging, testing. Anything else we should cover before we wrap up this deep dive?
One more thing worth mentioning is AI-assisted code refactoring.
Code refactoring. That's like restructuring existing code without changing how it works, right?
That's it. It's all about making the code cleaner, easier to read and maintain, and more efficient.
Okay, and how is AI being used for this?
Well, there are tools now that analyze your code and suggest ways to improve its structure. They can spot redundant code, recommend better names, even suggest design patterns that make the code more robust and scalable.
So it's like having an AI coding coach helping you write better, more elegant code.
Exactly. And it's super valuable for teams working with older, larger code bases, the kind that have built up a lot of what we call technical debt over time.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. What do you think is the most important thing for our listeners to take away from all this?
I think the biggest takeaway is that this OpenAI research gives us a dose of reality. There's all this hype about AI changing everything.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get swept up in it, thinking AI is about to completely revolutionize everything. But this study shows that while it's definitely making progress, it's not magic.
Right.
And it's not about to replace human software engineers anytime soon.
Definitely not the robot takeover some people were worried about.
Exactly. It's important to be balanced when we talk about this stuff. Recognize the potential, but also understand the risks.
AI is not the boogeyman, but it's not a magic wand either.
Perfectly put. It's a powerful tool that can help us do amazing things, but it's not a replacement for human expertise, creativity, or problem solving. As AI gets better, it'll be fascinating to see how it changes the way we build software. New roles, new ways of working, a whole new way of thinking about software engineering.
So instead of fearing AI taking our jobs, we should be thinking about how to be the best AI partners we can be, how to work with these new tools to create even better software.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive. I feel like I've learned so much.
It's been my pleasure. I love talking about this stuff.
Thanks for joining us. And to all our listeners, we hope this episode has given you a better understanding of how AI is changing the world of software engineering. Remember, the future isn't something that happens to us, it's something we create. Let's use the power of AI wisely and build a better world together.
Until next time.